So let's start first with the EPA's ruling. So on Wednesday, February 7th, 2024, the Environmental Protection Agency, they came out and modified their particulate matter regulations. So we're going to dive in a little into that ruling. So the reason that matters is I've been following the Eastside Parkway's plan and the state Department of Transportation's plan to build a 4,100 foot cover on the Kensington Highway here in Buffalo. And particulate matter is something that the engineering team for the Department of Transportation studied, especially PM 2.5. So in order to kind of understand the repercussions of that plan, I think it's important to know particulate matter. So I'll tie it in together. But let's hop into the EPA's site first. So this is the EPA's web page that they have. Let's see. I'll try to zoom in so we can see the whole thing. So yeah, this is the EPA's particulate matter pollution. So again, as I mentioned on February 7th, 2024, the EPA, they strengthened the national ambient air quality standards for particulate matter to protect millions of Americans from harmful and costly health impacts, such as heart attacks and premature death. Particles or soot pollution is one of the most dangerous forms of air pollution, and an extensive body of science links it to a range of serious and sometimes deadly illnesses. So the EPA is setting the level of the primary, so the health-based annual PM 2.5 standard at 9.0 micrograms per cubic meter to provide public health protection. So you might be asking, what's 2.5? That's a bunch of jargon. So let's go to the particulate matter basics. Let's see if I can zoom in on this picture, because this is a good... there we go. So 2.5 particulate matter. So over here, this PM 2.5 in technical jargon. So it's a very fine, very small particles. So this, for example, so you might hear 2.5. This is a human hair. So human hair is 50 to 70 PM or particulate or microns. So we have some things here like fine beach sand, which is 90, and then dust and palm, which is 10. So really this ruling concerns this 2.5. So 2.5, microns is extremely small. So this is a human hair right here, or a model of a human hair. You can see these little red dots. That is particulate matter at 2.5. So extremely, extremely small bits of pollution, which they call PM 2.5. So yeah, hair would be PM 50 or PM 70. So again, extremely small. I mean, you can see this is a grain of beach sand, and look how small, relatively the PM 2.5 is. So why does this matter? I guess it matters because PM 2.5 is extremely hard. So it's bad for, human beings. It's a bad pollution. So you'll often hear PM 10, which is inhalable particles with diameters that are, 10 micrometers. So kind of these blue ones they're small, but not as small as the 2.5. So so how small is 2.5 micrometers? So 2.5 micrometers, it's extremely small. So 30 times larger. Let's see. So the average human hair is 30 times larger than a 2.5 PM. Let's see if I can get my wheel going here. So what are the harmful effects? So particulate matter, it contains microscopic solids and liquid droplets that are so small that they can be inhaled and cause serious health problems. So these particles, can get deep into your lungs, and they pose a great health or great deal of harm to human health. So essentially the EPA, they came out this week. This ruling, they're just lowering the threshold. So it was like 12 parts per, so basically 12 to 9. I'm not a scientist, so I can't explain really the technical of what that means, but essentially they're just lowering the standard of what's healthy. So 12 used to be used to be considered a threshold, and they're lowering it to 9. So health and environmental effects. So the PM, it's important because it causes lots of health issues for human beings. So if you inhale a lot of it, or if you have escalated levels of PM 2.5, you can have things like premature death, heart and lung disease, heart attacks. It's bad for asthma, decreased lung function, and also like visibility impairment. So I think whenever we see kind of I think we've all seen the pictures of China, the air pollution in China, how bad it is. And, it causes fog and, visibility impairment, environmental damage. So it's not just humans that it's bad for. Everything from our water to our air, to the nutrients in our soil. So it damages our forest crops and forests, and it's bad for ecosystem. It contributes to acid rain. So there's lots of good resources on the EPA. So I just wanted to bring this to people's attention because essentially the state's DOT study, when they were studying kind of the effects of the Kensington cap, they used 12 as a threshold, and now lowering it to 9, it decreases the margin of error and just how close this billion-dollar project is. I think some of the tables, and I can pull up a table that was in the report. Let's see if I can find it here. So let's see here. Let's see. So here's the table from the consultant study. Let's see if I can zoom in here. So this is table 18 and table 19 from the consultant study. So this looked at the build alternative. So this is the 2027 if they build, the Kensington cap. So they used this 2.5 PM results, and they had the national ambient air quality standard. It was 12. So now, I crossed it out and put a 9 because now the 9 is. But you can see from their study that like they calculated that if they build the Kensington, the effects of the build will be at 7.5. So now we're only 1.5 away from the 9 threshold. I did some digging into the 6.8 number, and I have some questions of essentially what they did is there's a air monitoring station on the 190, I think, by Clinton. It essentially monitors Buffalo's air quality. So they come up with like the yearly averages, and on May 1st, they'll release the 2023 numbers. But essentially what the consultants did is they took the 3-year average from just the William or the Clinton Street station and got 6.8 as the average. I went back and pulled the station readings all the way back. They have data all the way to 1999. And if you use like a 5-year average or a 9-year average, that number is higher. So when I was looking at the trend line, the 6.8 number, I have some questions. It uses 2020 when obviously with the pandemic and COVID, there's a lot less driving. So car and car exhaust is a big contributor of this PM 2.5. So even the 2020 number was low. So when they use this 3-year average to get this 6.8 number, so essentially they modeled that 0.7 would be from the tunnel, and then the background, or basically our base level of 2.5 particulate matter in Buffalo is, according to these consultants, 6.8. And this number, I have some questions of, it seems artificially low. My calculation is it maybe somewhere around 7.2, based on like a 5-year average if you looked at that, and also looking at the Cheektowaga monitoring station. So we could be somewhere up around 8. This is just an average. So some days we're higher, some days we're lower. So now with the EPA making the standard 9, it decreases our, it just makes it thinner, the margin of error, and we're closer to just being, more polluted or what's healthy. And I think, even looking at the monitoring station data, you look back in 2005 and our average was like 14. So we have made some decreases or improvements in our air quality, but still, this number should be 0. So I think just based on our modern lifestyle of, fossil fuels and all the types of pollution that, go into the air, this 2.5 is just something we all deal with. So we're all breathing in these really small and fine particles, and just something to be aware of.